2007 levels, that's where you say spending should be held at, and that will lead to an advancing of balancing the budget and cutting spending. Can you explain that plan that you're putting forth?
If we would go back to 2007 level spending, just shy of $3 trillion a year by the federal government, and we held that spending in place for the next 10, we would balance the budget in 2013, and instead of having a $25 trillion national debt in 2020, we'd cut the current debt in half, and it would be 6, and we'd save the country. And it doesn't seem like that should be that hard to do. Were things really so bad with the way government was providing services just 3 years ago? Most Floridians would like to make as much as they made in 2007 as they're making in 2010 when times are really tough. So let's go back, let's cap all spending. That will make Congress do its job. Congress will have to evaluate all these different priorities, make sure that these funding programs are smart and efficient and effective, and figure out which ones they can get rid of. Congress doesn't do that now.
But you're going to try to bring this up in the lame duck session to at least get a vote.
I am. I'm going to try to bring it up as an amendment or a point of order on whatever spending bill we do, whether it's a continuing resolution or a new spending bill. We haven't done one this year that needs to close out the spending for the year. So I'm going to try to make that vote on the Senate floor so we can get it on record where people stand.
As you know, the GOP conference for the new Congress voted to ban earmarks, something you've supported. How encouraged are you that the earmark practice will be banned?
Well, it's the right thing to do. When I came to Congress, it was evident to me very early on that earmarks are the gateway drug to big spending. When a budget bill comes up, an appropriations bill, and it's 5, 10, 15, 20% more than last year, if your earmark's in it, it's hard to vote against it. And that's how they buy you off for bigger government spending. So getting rid of these earmarks is not just symbolic. It's going to go a long way, I think, to getting us serious about cutting federal spending.
The question of raising the debt ceiling is going to come up in the new Congress. What do you think the Republicans are going to be able to do to combat Democrats who want to raise the debt ceiling to pay for the government spending?
Well, there needs to, I don't want to shut the government down. No one does. But if we're going to raise the debt ceiling, why can't we pair that with a significant spending cut, a significant spending cap, so that we can show the American people, so we can show investors around the world that we're serious about tackling our debt. If we don't tackle our debt soon in a meaningful way, it is going to overwhelm this government to the point where the government will not be able to function. We've got to do something serious, and we've got to do it now.
Bush tax cuts, obviously a very large priority going into the new Congress, even in the lame duck session. Do you think there's going to be a compromise that extends the Bush tax cuts for all earners?
I hope so. I'm hopeful that there will be. And I think we should extend them for everybody. We should not pick and choose. We're in the middle of the worst recession since the Great Depression. My home state of Florida, nearly 12% unemployment. Last thing we need to do is raise taxes on anyone, especially job creators. We know that 750,000 small businesses file as if they were individuals and will be impacted by a tax increase at the higher end. So those are the people who are getting this economy hopefully back on its feet. Let's not cripple them while they're just trying to get back up on their feet.
Lots of folks are on the Republican side of the aisle are saying that Obamacare and the uncertainty surrounding Obamacare is stifling job growth. Do you believe that's the case, and is that one of the major reasons that you want to repeal and or defund Obamacare?
I hear it all the time. Everywhere I go in Florida, small business folks tell me, big business and medium-sized, but especially small, I don't know what the rules of the road are. I don't know if I hire that next employee whether or not I'm going to be fined or some new mandate's going to be placed on me under this 2,000-page healthcare bill that I can't read and I can't understand. So we know that the Obama healthcare plan is freezing job creation in Florida and making the situation worse. We do need to repeal it. We need to replace it with something that works, that's going to be something that does not saddle our children with more and more debt.
Last question. What advice do you give to the man who's going to be occupying your seat, Marco Rubio, as he embarks on this new adventure?
Well, I don't think he needs my advice. He's done such a wonderful job in this campaign. It was an electrifying campaign. He is, in my opinion, one of the brightest stars, if not the brightest stars of our generation. We're about the same age. And I think he's going to do wonderfully here in Washington. But he, like a lot of these new folks who are coming here, understand that Washington is broken. What Washington has been doing for the last 40 years hasn't worked. And if we don't get back to sound, realistic principles, the same principles that families use, the same principles that businesses use to run their organizations, if we don't get back to those principles, this government is not going to function, and it's going to fail all Americans.